Now, dear friends, we move on to determinants of price elasticity of demand. In the previous pages, we saw as what is price elasticity and how it is measured. When we understand it, we should also be able to understand the factors which determine the elasticity of the demand or the determinants which affect the price elasticity of demand. That is, whether the demand is highly fluctuating or not able to fluctuate. This is what is understood by this. First one is availability of substitutions or substitutes. Like the degree of number of substitutes that are available makes or affects the elasticity of demand. That is, if a product can have various other substitutions, the demand for this product can keep changing. Either it can contrast or it can expand. So in that case, the elasticity is said to be inelastic if there are no substitutes available, whereas it is highly elastic when there are closer substitutes. Like, let me explain to you first. In the case of salt or vegetables or small products, however the prices increase or decrease, if there is no substitute for salt, you need to buy. So in that case, the elasticity is said to be less. It is inelastic or less because you have no substitutes. But in the case of, say, toothpaste or your toilet soaps, you have various brands. You have various brands at various prices. So if the price of one increases, the tendency of the consumer to move an equivalent substitute at a lesser price is there. So what happens? The demand for this product goes up or down depending upon the prices. So it is highly elastic. I think you would have understood now. So inelasticity of demand or elasticity of demand due to the substitute is affected by the substitutes alone. If there are various number of substitutes, alternates available, then in that case the demand elasticity of demand for the original product is elastic. If there aren't substitute and if he has to go for that particular product only, then it is inelastic. Next, position of a commodity in the consumer's budget. Like for every household, the consumer spends a portion, allocates a portion of his income for the product that he wishes to buy. Say for example, for the necessary commodities like tailoring parts or matchboxes or salt, it is very meager amount or a small portion of his income that he is ready to give for that. There, a small increase of price or decrease of a price will not matter much. So the elasticity of demand is highly inelastic, I would say. But on the other hand, supposing the dress materials or the houses that he wishes to take for rent or utensils and other household articles, the prices, if it keeps changing, he will reduce the portion of income that he is ready to spend for it, or he would reduce the quantity that he would be ready to buy. So what happens? It becomes elastic. That is, the elasticity of demand is highly willing to contract or to expand here in that case. Third one, nature of the need that a commodity satisfies. If a commodity, as we have already discussed, maybe a luxury one or maybe an ordinary one which he really wants to use like as necessities. So in the case of necessities, the effect of the price is inelastic. However, he need to buy. So he will buy a small quantity at least. So this is inelastic. But in the case of luxury goods, he may tend to postpone his purchase, or he may tend to forgo the purchase. So here it is very inelastic. Like necessities, when the price is inelastic, when in case of luxuries it is relatively elastic. He might postpone it for a later when it reduces the price. Next is number of uses to which a commodity can be put. If the same commodity is of various number of uses for him, the greater will be the price elasticity. Even if a slight increase of a price, he wouldn't mind, because he can use the same product. Say for example, the milk, he need to have it for the beverages, or he need to have it for the curd, he need to have it for the medicinal purposes and so on. So he wouldn't mind to buy a little more when the price even increases. So like that, when the product is put into various number of uses, he would rather cut short his consumption, or he would make it for more consumption. So in that case, what happens? The elasticity of the price is greater. Supposing the commodity has very less number of uses, the quantity demanded may highly vary according to it. So the elasticity is less over there. It is said to be inelastic. And the next one is time period. Like the longer the time period he has to buy the product, then he has an opportunity to go for alternative or substitute, or even change his habits. In that case, the demand elasticity, elasticity of demand is highly elastic. He can move, he can buy another product, or he can wait. So it happens to be the changeable one. The quantity can be changed. But in the case of other things, like when there is only little more time, when he doesn't have a substitute, then in that case he will go to small goods for that time purpose. So here the elasticity is again limited to the time period, the availability of the time for him to go move on. Next is consumer's habit. If the consumer is very much attached to the product, he does not change his demand due to the rise in the prices, then there in that case it is said to be highly inelastic. If the buyer has a huge liking for the product, he will not move, then in that case it is inelastic. Next is tied demand. Tied demand is the demand for these goods are because of the other goods, like say for printers and ink cartridges as given in the textbook. Ink cartridges are necessary for the printers to work. So the price in the ink cartridges will not be like affecting too much, because it is autonomous, it is inelastic. You have to buy, you will buy, and you need to. As much as you will pay, you have to get it. So the demand for the printer and the ink cartridges goes hands in hand. So it is inelastic. Next is price range. If the goods are very high price range or very less in price range, it is inelastic. However, if it is very high, the consumer who is ready to buy will not mind a small increase in the price of the product. If it is very low, even if it decreases a little bit or increases a little bit, he wouldn't mind. So in the only the product in the middle range will have an inelastic demand. Elastic demand. The prices in the higher range or in the very lower range will have an inelastic demand, because it will not show a big contraction or expansion of the product demanded. Next is minor complementary items, the cheap items. Here it will have only an inelastic demand, because already they are cheap and already they are complementary items. So its price will not have a contraction or expansion in the quantity demand. So above than all this, knowledge of the price elasticity and the factors is of a key importance to the business managers, because they can have an understand the effect of the price change with effect to the total sale and revenue.